All right, so this is our robotic hand demo. So what I did was I just took a piece of cardboard from like a box and I traced my hand. I left it a little bit larger than my hand just so I'd have enough room. And this is our cutout. If you can see really closely, you'll see some pencil marks on here. And those are just where my joints are. So where the bends are, because that's where we're gonna cut some spaces in the straws. So I did that already. I've gotten 5 bendy straws. They don't have to be bendy straws or anything like that. The bent part of them is gonna go at the bottom, and I'm gonna line them up and I'm gonna hot glue them all to each of the fingers along the edges. And then I'm going to take a utility knife or an X-Acto knife, and I'm just gonna cut where these little markings are in the straw so that there's these little squares, and that will just help the straws bend when we pull the strings through. And then I'm gonna line some strings through them. So that's sort of the process that I'm gonna take you through. So right now all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna use a hot glue gun. I don't think regular glue will work. It just won't be strong enough. So I'm gonna hot glue each of my straws down first, and then I'll come back and I'll show you sort of what you need to do to cut out all the pieces. All right, so this is my hand. It's glued, and you can see that I've cut out little pieces, not very beautifully or gracefully. I am not that great and skilled with the utility knife, but it's fine. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna run a string through the straw all the way through to the end, and we'll tie them together here at the end. What we'll do at the end is we're gonna take an elastic. I'm gonna cut the elastic just so it's straight, and we'll tie the string to one end of the elastic, and then we'll tape the end of the elastic here. And that way the hands will go back sort of to the way that they were. So I will do one, and then I'll come back and show you what it looks like, and I'll do the rest. Okay, so what I did was I looped the string through and just tied like a knot the end really tight as I could on the elastic, and then I dragged the elastic down and I just taped it, or I glued it, sorry, at the very bottom, so it isn't glued here. You can see that it's still loose because I want it to be able to bend back and forth but hold. So this is all set up. I'm just gonna let it dry a little bit before I start playing around with it and bending. But the idea is that you can control the hand through the strings, and they should curl like the tendons do. You can even take this a step further. I know that people have created like rings for this, so you could actually loop each string around your finger with a ring. Please don't tie it to your finger. I don't want to like cut off circulation in your finger, but then you can move each of your fingers in turn, and the hand will do the same thing. So this is just the basic rudimentary version, but you can do a lot more with something like this. And definitely check out the eNable website if you're interested in sort of building projects that are better than this art. You can actually get like a kit with 3D printed robotic parts, or a 3D printed part for a hand with all the screws and pieces to put it all together. So if you're really interested in sort of tinkering and playing with things like Lego, and you want to do something for someone else, they do have a prosthetic hand program where you can actually make them yourselves for the company and provide them to someone who is in need. So that's eNable is the company, like E-N-A-B-L-E, if you're interested in doing something more beyond just straws and cardboard. All right, so I've just played around with it a little bit. It's pretty good. Bends like a hand, not exactly the same, but you can also do sort of one finger at a time. You can spell out some stuff if you really wanted to, I'm sure. Some sign language. Very cool. That one just needs to be adjusted a little bit like that. Very cool. So yeah, it works like a hand would with your tendons. Very cool. There you go.